We still have quite a few questions in about 10 minutes. So. Okay. Next question is, please talk about protein in a specific way. So, coming up a lot lately, and I'd like to know protein needs of a raw food that.
The question is...
What are the protein needs of a raw food?
Okay, is raw food some kind of disease or something? What do you mean of a raw food? What does that have to do with it?
Just how do you meet your protein needs on a raw food diet?
Okay, I'm just playing. Okay, so let's get clear. We just said people are individualized. Okay, and Pavel states in this book, Are You Confused? It's a good title. We're talking about nutrition. He cites 10 studies where people got 20 grams of protein a day and did fine. 10 studies. Gabriel's experience, now we're not talking about pregnant women who need 70 grams, is somewhere between 20 and 40 to 45 grams of protein is all we need. And when you have raw food, when you cook your food, you lose 50% of the protein gets coagulated. So you can even have less than that amount and do well, because you're losing 50% if you're cooking your food. So how do you get it met? The American Dietetics Association is saying, you know what, you can do fine with protein. A vegan diet, even during pregnancy, post-pregnancy, while you're breastfeeding, is totally safe and totally adequate. So basically you get it from your nuts and seeds, and if you're a high protein person, and that's about 60% of the population, you know, constitutionally, you supplement with spirulina or chlorella 1 to 2 tablespoons per meal, and you've got way more than your 40 grams. So it's really quite easy. Nuts, seeds, you know, hemp seed, hemp protein concentrate from that is really a non-issue. And there's protein relatively in sprouts, and even in fruit you have 2% protein.
I think kale has 60% protein, doesn't it? From what I researched on it.
It's way up there.
In the pH Miracle it said it had 60% protein.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit high.
Would it have just as much in the juice, or would it have more or less?
It would have less because you're juicing it, because you don't have the fiber.
Okay.
Kale is the most nutrient-dense food there is. It's the most nutrient-dense. But I don't think it's 60%. It could be 40%.
They quoted 60, but
yeah, well,
they could be off.
Yeah. But nevertheless, it's very high.
It is high, 40%.
But how much kale do you have to eat to get that? See, that's the difference when we talk about that question. You see what I'm saying?
Can I take the conversation back to vaccines?
Sure.
Could you talk about the HPV virus and the vaccines targeted at adolescents, girls right now, and the origination of this virus?
Okay, the human papillomavirus, I actually don't know a lot about the origination of it, but again, any vaccine you want to be suspicious of. Obviously, the best way to do it is, you know, safe sex and so forth and so on. I don't think it's a good idea for them to start vaccine. They have other agendas. That's all I can tell you.
I was wondering about that. Something that I could.
But I can't prove that. I don't know that much about it. But you know, all Gabriel can say is there's a little talk about chips being put in the vaccines because they're nano chips. So, and I don't believe that's happening at this point. But I will know that's in people's minds. If we're hearing about it, it's in people's minds. And the minds who are developing these things are very sharp minds. They may be upside down in their thinking, sharp minds. So that's another reason not to. Gabriel wants to be clear. He's not saying we have any evidence at this point of putting chips in the vaccines. But I don't know when that might happen. It's out there.
Okay. Could Gabriel elaborate on bowel toxicity and fasting to help with people suffering from schizophrenia, and the test to measure the toxin indican?
Okay. In the 80s, this is the question. Did everybody hear the question out there?
Oh.
The question is bowel toxicity and the treatment of schizophrenia. There was research done by the Russians, and that they water fasted all their incurable schizophrenics. Nothing would work on them. And after 28 days in water fast, there was a 65% success rate in terms of people becoming normal. And the only time they relapsed is when they ate flesh food. So what happened? Well, what happened was that these people seemed to have a genetic variation where they had 5 times higher 6-hydroxyskitol, which is a bowel toxin, and that higher percentage created a toxicity in the brain and threw them off. So that's kind of what happened there. It takes, in our research, we did maybe 100 people, okay? It takes about 6 to 7 days to be clear of bowel toxicity according to the indican test, which is we're checking a bowel toxin indican that shows up in your urine. And that was basically 100% were, I'll just say by 7 days on a juice fast, green, a vegetable, and at that time we were doing fruit juices, 100% of the people were free of bowel toxins by 7 days. So that's one of the great, that's why we go 7 days, one of the reasons. 5 days doesn't do it consistently.
Okay. What do you think about the various zeolite products that say they are combining or digesting the zeolite with fulvic acid, therefore eliminating the need for any other toxic chemicals in their processing, and making the zeolites more accepted by the body?
Well, the fulvic acid, the people, some of the companies that did that, at least one of them, several people ended up going to the hospital because the fulvic acid is really great for growing bacteria. So after that, one company had to close. So just to kind of put it in mind, and really the safest is the one, see, zeolite loads up. It naturally pulls toxins out of the environment. So you may, those powdered zeolites, you may get, it's 50% already filled with toxins, so it's not nearly as effective.
Repeat the question, please.
Zeolite and the issue of the zeolite fulvic acid combinations that are out there. And I'm saying that there's some danger. At least several people have been hospitalized because it stimulates bacterial growth. So I'm going with who have done the research and have not had any problems, and that's the NCD. And that's, I think, the key thing. And I feel that's the safer way to go. I'm always going to pick the safest way.
Does the fulvic acid alone stimulate bacterial growth? Like, what problem is it, the combination?
Appears to be the combination.
Okay.
Fulvic acid is in your soil, and it's very good for helping plants absorb minerals.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question about zeolite, now that you mentioned it?
Yes, go ahead.
You had said something last time I heard you about a protocol they were using for hepatitis C. You didn't go much into the depth on it, if there was some other dietary protocol with that, or what the results really were of that. You got any more information?
Not much. There is strong suggestion that the NCD creates a disruption of the viral replication, and they have a variety of cases that have healed from or been nullified by of hepatitis C by the NCD. They have not published it yet, and I'm hearing some of this is going to get published soon. And the only protocol, as far as Gabriel understands, is you have to drink lots of water, because NCD can be a little dehydrated.
What concentrations has Gabriel been hearing?
Well, I think I would go 15 drops 4 times a day at least.
Wow, okay, thank you.
I don't know if Gabriel would like to address this on the session, but if so,